It's 3 now, right? There we go. All right. Calling to order the special meeting of municipal council Monday, January 15th. We're at the South Edwardsburg Community Center for our strategic planning session number 2. And we do have a GIC renewal to deal with before we get there. So the next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself and seconded by Mr. Martel, that the Westphalia Council approves the agenda as presented.
Right, seeing and hearing no changes to it, it's as presented, so call the question, all in favor? Okay, disclosure of pecuniary interest, conflict of interest of the general nature thereof, does anyone have any interest, conflict to declare it? Okay, hearing none, then we will go on to the action and information items, 4K, GIC renewal. Councillor Smale, I believe you have that.
I do, your worship, thank you very much. Moved by myself, and seconded by Councillor Chris Ward. That the municipal council directs the treasurer to purchase a 1-year non-redeemable GIC in the amount of $1,250,000 at the best valuable interest rate, and 2, directs the treasurer to transfer the remaining proceeds of $585,935.14 to be received on January 24th, 2024 to the Industrial Parkland Reserve Fund 98-3813 as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Administration and Operations.
Moved in second, discussed at last committee meeting. Is there further discussion with this at all? No. Do we know the rate yet, Sean? That's the only thing I would ask.
Well, through the chair, I did hear back from RBC. The rate has dropped 45 basis points from the 4th reading there. So we could do 5.8, and closer I will reach out to Scotia and see what their rates are.
5.8.
5.8 should be what it's.
So, and that's locked for a year, so.
Yes, and odds are we will be getting 5.45 on our operating account for the entire year. As soon as interest rates drop, we'll have a drop.
Yeah. Okay. All right, hearing that. Any further questions or? All right, then I'll call the question on doing that transaction. All in favor? Aye. Good. Moving on to strategic planning session with Rob Adams. All right, welcome, Rob.
Well, thank you very much for having me down here today.
Happy to have you.
The sun is shining. Yeah, we need to split up, I guess. I don't know what order. 2, 2, 1.
You know, I say something to you too.
Okay, I'm going for I'll get my home. You lead the way. Going it on. You got it.
Hey, I think there should have a big marker and a lot of little stickies. Should have what? Okay, a marker, lots of stickies.
Sounds just like me.
No problem. So you got markers and stickies. Okay, well, I'm really excited to be here again. The sun is shining, the weather is actually warm compared to where I came from. It's -15 in Orangeville. So it must be you're close to the body of water. So Maybe it's just the sun. Anyway, I'm excited. Yeah, excited to be here today. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time doing our second workshop. And at our first one, you were very successful. You accomplished an awful lot. This one, we're gonna have to dig in a little bit harder. There's more work to do. Today, we're going to be reviewing our workshop number 1. We're gonna do a team building activity, a couple of them. Then we're gonna be developing some themes around strategic priorities or strategic objectives. And we actually have 3 different sessions where we're gonna break out and do strategic objectives. We have 6 of them. So we're gonna have different groups assigned to them and we're gonna work on them. It doesn't mean you can't, if someone missed something, it doesn't mean you can't jump in and help the group. Then we're gonna do at the sort of the end, we're gonna do the BHAG. Does everyone remember what that is? Our big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And then we're gonna talk about next steps and kind of summary of where we got to today. So here's the process of going through. We launched the project and did workshop 1. And now we're in the step 2, which is engagement phase. So we're doing workshop number 3, and then we're going to go out to the public with a summary of the things that we come up with to ask the public, once we have some meat on the bones, what they think about it and get their feedback. Then when we get the feedback from the public, we'll go to step 4, which is refining it, putting together the strategic planning, and then we move towards implementation. And we'll set your staff and you up with a tool to be able to implement the strategic plan and track it and move forward with it. And then finally, we'll do a health check, number 6 months later, just to make sure things are going the way you wanted them to make sure you're making progress on it. So in our first workshop that we did, there's a good picture. I'm sorry, a few people were in front of the projector and it looks a little weird. But anyway, good group. And there you were in some of the workshops. You can see people were very engaged and good conversations happening. And then we even had some fun building the castles, if you remember that. You guys were not bad. I've had some groups that were absolutely terrible, but you guys seem to be really good at communicating with each other, which is excellent. So this was what you came up with as your vision. Your vision is building today on the success of yesterday, excited for tomorrow. That's really good, very powerful. It's one of the best ones I think I've seen. And then your mission is to grow a safe, healthy community while providing sustainable services for all to enjoy. Excellent vision and mission. And of course, if you see adjustments, we can still make adjustments to it. These are all in draft. And then I need your help because you came up with some values. And in this case, the value was respect. Pride in work was another key phrase under that value that some of the groups used. And so I put together 2 different statements, and I'd like to know which one you like. You get to choose one. I'm hoping you don't pick pieces of one and pieces of the other. You can if you want. But is there one that you like better than the other? So take a moment to just read those and see if that definition of that value makes sense to you. Which one would you want, number 1 or number 2? And is there any tweaking you do to it? Okay, and once again, it's just in draft. So just take a minute to read that. Tell me what you think. Anyone have any suggestions on which one they liked for respect? Or are they both a miss? Or they're both too good?
On the second one, I found when I read it to myself, embodying the culture, the values, and obviously, and dignity of every individual. I felt like it should have been a stop there. and then a start to the next sentence.
Okay.
Fostering. Or just didn't, I don't know, the sentence didn't forward. So I ended up picking the first one because I didn't. Second, I like the first.
Okay, so if everyone feels the second one is the one, we could put a period there and capital and change the tense of the word. Glad to do that. You like number one? Okay, anyone else?
I chose number one too, just because it talks about everybody as a like collectively, I mean, it says individuals, I mean, individual could be a ratepayer, individual could be an employee. So that's why I chose that one.
Okay, how about over there? 1, 2,
I like
number one. Okay,
No, you were like, sorry.
okay, so number one, put up your hand. Number two. Okay, so is there anything in number two that's you really want to have in number one? We kind of have a pretty good majority. I'm just trying to be a nice guy and see if the number twos are.
I mean, from my perspective, I mean, I said number two, but I did like the collective pride and work. I thought that was a powerful message in that one as well. It was, I think what it was is pertaining to, you know, the using, you know, acknowledging and celebrating leveraging for collective growth. So, you know, one with number one with somehow the message of better growth would be good. Thank you.
So what was the wording in here? Collective growth?
You know, I just don't see us talking to, you know, it has respect, but I like the fact we put a bit of vision into it.
Okay.
I think number one, clear, concise. And much easier to relay to the entire range of stakeholders. I look at number one too, as far as a lot of the service groups that we have within the community, right, and what they do, and again, some service groups have their own individual thoughts on what the township should be aligning themselves with, or whether or not they want to align themselves with the townships, goals and future things, so I look at it from that perspective.
Okay. So can we say number one for now, and I'll maybe try to play with the wording. Sometimes it comes to me right away, sometimes I need to take it away. But let's say for respect, it's number one. Okay, so here's.
Number two down.
We'll get rid of number two down over here. Back to our number one.
We take it, you took number three.
I came up with it, someone else came up with it. So here's teamwork. Take a second to read those.
I'm good with either, but I think what's number one is simply because I'm like the shortest number of words possible that captures.
Okay, Number one,
It's no secret that I like to be transparent, so, I like the words transparent, accountable, and consistent, so. And I like number two because of those words, particularly, to be honest, but it's-
okay,
I think that our council is all about the first here. We want to really make sure that we are accountable to the community, transparent. And for sure, integrity is a big part, so I got to go with number two.
okay, number two as well. Anyone else? Number two,
I like the inclusive nature of number one. It's like the impression that everybody's in the game and everybody's ideas are not the, it's open minded.
number one. Okay, so we can vote on it, see where the numbers come up, or we can use both. Or I can try to combine, them, but they're kind of both different. Who likes number one? 2, 4, 5, okay, and who likes number two? 2, 4. Okay. We've got 4 on one and 5 on another. Yeah,
I want to know that the next, I believe the next line speaks to transparent.
yeah. You wanna go?
And I'm just like, depending on what the outcome there is.
Do you wanna go to transparent, take a look
I
at
think
it?
so, I think
Let's
so,
do that.
and then we're back to.
Yep, that's a great suggestion. So look at transparent, open and communicative were the other two subwords that kind of came up in the exercise we did.
Default with number.
So I'm gonna go with number one as well, but again, I like number two better. I just struggle with accessible communications. I think one of the biggest issues that we have is how we communicate with residents. I struggle with the lack of print media and no standard so you can communicate. It's difficult to reach out.
So you may be falling short, but this is what you're striving for. Okay?
Okay.
So you're committed to it. You're trying to do it. You maybe are coming up short, but you're gonna keep working away.
So then I'll
So how is everyone else feeling? 1, 2, number 2, number 2. 2, 2. 1, okay, let's hands for 1. 4, okay, and hands for 2. 2, 5. Let's split again. Did it solve anything for the last one?
Actually, it was 6, wasn't
Was
it
it
6?
6?
6 and 4.
Is it 6 and 4? Yep. 5. So does that solve anything for our last one? Around teamwork.
For me, but it's funny, I read these last night, I guess, and I didn't put together after teamwork, the next 3 values were the 3 critical ones I talked about, so, to that end, and I do like a concise message as well, I'm okay, I don't want to see.
Okay. Everyone okay with number 1 for teamwork? So teamwork, we've got number 1. Okay, and then on transparent, I think we were 2 was the majority. Everyone okay with that? They're all really good. It's kind of hard when you have two really good choices. Okay, accountable. Accountable was efficiency, innovative, accountability.
Number two, we're just under them. But that's not the capital one. One of the things.
Okay. We show hands, maybe number one? Number two? Oh, number two, yeah. Got some momentum here.
Right, I'm done speaking.
And on transparent, I didn't write it down, we're on, it was two, wasn't it? Number two. Yeah. Okay, integrity. Honesty was the other key word that we had that you identified. Anyone have any suggestions? I just did two. Just because of the overall description. Okay, two.
I like one, I like the fact that it was concise, that had all the things that you could, it had all the aspects of looking for, it's nice, concise work.
Okay, so number one. Any other feedback?
Number two is the stronger statement.
Okay. So maybe show of hands who's on one. 2, 4, 5, and 2. 2, 4, 5. Split down the middle. When I was the warden, I used that. So,
Way people remember two, because I would honestly swear that one right now, number two is more wholesome. However, it's not as easily read for the common individual. So I think there could be many words that could be simplified or just cut to condense it and make it a little bit easier to read. Essentially, leave some words and things that don't connect with the
okay. So you want to try and take 2, but cut it back,
simplify.
okay? So what would you take out of it?
We don't need to do young laboring, we don't really need. Instead, we could rephrase and say steadfast to something simpler, same with the bedrock and governance. I think we just need to make it overall like a more simple phrase for the public.
Okay,
Because it's gonna, you refer to it, yes. Refer to it, but the public needs to understand what we're actually saying.
well, if you want to keep it simple, number 1's really fairly simple. Like all the people who were on 2, is 1 unacceptable? Or is it? Like, they're both pretty good.
I mean, what I said on one of the first ones, it's kind of wavering a little bit between the two of them, maybe just take a little bit from 1 and 2, but then see if that's, so a third one might be the best one.
Okay.
It feels a bit like,
It's a bit wordy.
it's a bit wordy. Like for caution, but like, one is clear, concise. It's pretty.
I agree with you, just Simon outside the voice, but. I think one simple for the public to understand, right?
Hudson. And I think, and many of these statements, they're sort of meant to be, read in their true whole forms, not too much emphasis on a particular word.
Right.
I think sometimes when there's too many words, it gets focused on a particular word and sort of lose sight of it.
Right. So would, by a show of hands, would you be happy with one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think the majority are on one. Okay? That's good. Lots of compromise going on here, I like that. Put out your idea and then be able to make some adjustments. Okay, these are still in draft, so we can look at them, we can take a look at them, and we get feedback from the public and other stuff. So, we did strengths, if you remember, and there were a bunch of strengths that you identified. It's hard to read all these because of, the picture, but there were a number of things, the quality of life, cost of living, being open for business, the port, a whole bunch of strengths you had. There were some weaknesses, some things that you identified that we needed to think about and be aware of. And then we identified opportunities that we had for success. And you guys had a lot of opportunities, or a lot up on the list. And then as well, there were threats, things that we need to be aware of, right? Provincial downloading or cuts, all those kinds of things. And so now we're going to do a little team building activity. Just take a little break. So we did this before. How many faces did you see? Do you remember doing this before? Okay, so I want you to show her how many faces you see.
Oh, I thought we were what we seen the last night.
Yeah, there we go. How many?
12.
12?
I think it was.
Is it 12? Okay, so there's three, right? Pretty obvious. Did everyone see those three? Remember we did this last time. Someone said 2, 3, 5, 7. I don't know if you guys got 12. You're pretty sure. So there's 3 right there. There's 2 more right there. So it's at 5. How about those 2? Did you see those 2 last time? They're circled in red up there. The white faces, right up in this top corner. If you need to come and stand over there, you can. See the top corner? Did you guys get those last time? No, I think they're new. The more often I do this, the more I learn, right? Because different points of view. So there's 2 up there. How about that? You see that one before? There's one, but did you see that one? I think that might be a new one, eh? See, this is what I do in my spare time. I just stare at this. No drugs involved. I'm just. There's the baby. That's another face. Oh, there's another one up there. So how many is that up in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then how about these ones? This is the answer sheet. Oh, wow. The answer sheet has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The dog down the bottom. And I think we're up. We've got like 3 or 4 others, right? Right, because they missed a couple up in there on the answer sheet. So see those ones up there? They missed those ones. One's up in the top left, and the one over on the right there, just off that white face, the lady with the white face. There's a set of lips at kind of where her lips are. It's kind of a sliver of the dark. And then there's ones in here. There's a face right in there. It's like a big mouth open right there, 2 eyes. And then this is kind of a dog. This might be a little cat. Can you see those?
Yeah, that's like me drawing. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, the more you look at things, the more you uncover, right? The more you see. But also as a team, that's why you want different people to look at things and see things. So it's kind of what we're doing. Our first workshop, we did this and we all kind of looked at it. But soon we're gonna go into the public and see what they see, right? And they may see other things that we didn't see. So it's called the wisdom of crowds, and it's a theory that assumes that the knowledge of a crowd results in better decision-making, innovation, and problem-solving than that of an individual. If you've ever read the book, The Wisdom of Crowds, that's what it's all about. So has anyone done Lumina, Myers-Briggs, personality profiles? Anyone done that? Your therapist says it's not. It's one of the persons my therapist did with me. Okay, so what I want to do is, I want you to think about your personality for a minute. Okay, we're going to do a little exercise. And people are all these types of personality traits, right? We have a whole collection of them, but some are more dominant than others. So the green is kind of someone who's very accommodating, they're very collaborative, they're very empathetic, they tend to be a people person. Anyone think they're green right off the hop? You want to hear what the other ones are first, right? Okay. Yellow is spontaneous, imaginative, sociable, kind of that creative person, right? A little more creative. Red is purposeful, logical, takes charge. You find you were writing all the notes for your group last time and telling the group what they should think. You're probably red. And then blue is reliable, cautious, evidence-based. So I need to do some analysis on that. I want to get the facts before we make a decision on this, right? We're very evidence-based. So if you're green, I want you to come and stand here. Anyone green, come stand here. Okay. Yeah, go and stand right there with your back to there. If you're yellow, if you're very creative, spontaneous, imaginative, I want you to stand here. Yeah, I will. Take charge. Is red. Take charge. Let's go. Come on. I knew the two of you would be up here. I'm somewhere over here. Okay, and then the people person thing. Accommodating, caring about people. No. Oh no, sorry. Reliable, cautious, evidence-based. Reliable, cautious, evidence-based. Right here. Absolutely. See that. Okay, one in here. So I think Dave would be the worker. No. Oh, I do. Nice. But I think you're very cautious. I am. I know exactly what I am. Okay, let's actually decide to find out how many people where they are. We have to. You need to move over closer to the. Yeah. So interesting thing though, and you're a combination of all these things, right? But if you're predominantly more one, you tend to contribute to the group in that way. Now, it would be a problem if everyone was over here, red, take charge, right? Because what we probably have is people on council always fighting because everyone wants to be in charge, right? We'd have those issues, no?
But it's situational as well as contextual, right? There's situations where I'm playing a strong green and a player, so.
It is absolutely, yeah. And sometimes you might be very red, but there's not a lot of green on the team. So you've got to do more of the green stuff, right?
Or I personally find that because Steve very often is a red.
Right.
He's quite willing to take charge.
Yeah.
Especially if he's task oriented. So I find, here's the problem.
Right.
And then it puts me into a different spot.
Right, yeah, right. So you adjust based on the situation, right? And of course, if you're at home with your friends, your very good friends, just chilling, you're gonna be totally different than you are at the office. And then you're also gonna be different if you're having a bad day, right? Things have not been going well. You might become more of something else, right?
We don't have that many bad days, though.
Good personality. No. No, everything, everything's good. No, the really good thing is that, look, you're really forming a circle. You've got a combination of people with different skills. That's what makes a great team, right? So you think about in sports, if you have, everyone wants to be the goal scorer, the team's not gonna be very good. You need some people who defend, some people can go make a play in the corner, or whatever it is, right? So on this team, you need to have people with different skill sets, because you balance each other off, right? And so this is probably one of the best teams that I've seen on kind of being spread out across the areas. I can tell actually sometimes groups that they'll all be red or some other issue. Sometimes they're all evidence-based, so they want answers, but decisions are very slow, etc. And then others are very red or reckless, they don't take account of the risk. So having that balance helps each of you balance themselves as a team.
Well, I think with the balance too, though, I mean, quite simply, I could jump into the other one of these other spots too, as well as here, so I think that's what kind of brings the balance together. I think having a little bit of maybe expertise where you are in your product.
Yeah.
And, but then we could go over there if we needed to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just fit right in, right?
But some people can't do that very well.
Right.
If you have a high EQ team and a very capable team, then people can make those transitions and change and help the team.
One of the things I would say too is I think we're, super great, maybe a little less risk averse than what we previous councils have been, and I think that is good that we have a lot of lean on the staff side, because we have to tuck back a little bit on the reins a little, and we're pushing.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to pick up the pieces on it if it goes wrong.
Right.
Because I've been on, it's, it goes wrong, it's fast.
Because we think it's really push super hard, and it's a big difference.
Yeah, and you need that, because if you didn't have that, you might just get into some situations that you don't want.
Right.
So, yeah, so you got a great team here, it's a really good thing to see. And so, so you did well in that exercise, you all knocked us.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be red and so 7:30 after the bills come down.
Hey. Sir, I will chair. I you're lucky that I showed up today.
I know.
I had Bill underwear, Bill sock, Bill sweatshirt, they're like. I was so disappointed that game got moved.
Really?
We could put it on, actually.
Okay.
Put it on.
Yeah, well, you got a Steelers fan over there who wouldn't mind it on.
Depends how it's going,
It could go either way. So, these are the themes that you came up with, and we kind of put things in buckets. And there were some very similar ones and common ones, and I kind of took the stickies and put together this list. And you can give me feedback on you like other wording better. I just put the ones up that kind of ended up there, so livable community seemed to be one. Now, after we go through and we come up with the projects and initiatives and strategies under that, you may want to change the name to community vitality or something else, right? You may want to adjust that. So those were the words that were underneath it. Communication and customer service were kind of together. And if we have everything's all communication, we probably use the title communication. But if there's some customer service things, we want to probably have both. So we don't need to decide now, but we need to just be cognizant of it. Sometimes we call it good governance. So maybe there'll be some things around things we want to do around good governance in with those. And then maybe we want to broaden the category. So these are the categories that we came up with: livable community, communications and customer service, financial sustainability, infrastructure, growth and economic development, and environmental stewardship. Okay? So, these are your top priorities that people put down, on their survey that they did. I just want you to take a second to review these if you haven't. And these are other people's ideas. I wanted to share it so that you can see what other people are thinking. And there are lots of, I read through them again, and there are lots of similarities, which is good. If they were all different, it would be a little challenging. So I'm just gonna, if you've had a chance to read through that just quickly, let me know if you've read that. Did everyone read these in advance? Okay, so I'll just flip through these fairly quickly. So you can have a glance at them. Think about what buckets these things would end up in, what category they might be under. Here, budgets is probably under financial sustainability, succession planning is probably governance. Guys provided really good feedback on these ideas, and a lot of good ideas in here. And if you want to see these again as you're working through them, I'm glad to flip through them so you can have a look again. New meeting technology, built-in projector systems. Okay, so we're going to do breakouts around communications, customer service, and good governance, and one around livable community, which is lifestyle, recreation, safe family environment, live, work, play, seniors, community services, community vitality. So we have 3 groups, so I need at least one group to do one of each, and then the other one to choose. So do you know which one you guys would like to do? Want to talk about it? Which one would you want to do? Fine with you?
I like the view.
Okay, livable community here. Who wants to do? You want to do that? Are you guys okay doing communications and customer service? Okay, so you're gonna do livable community, you're gonna do customer service. It doesn't mean that if you have a customer service thing you think about, you can't add it to the mix. But we try to just keep focused. Okay, so here's an example of one. So this is under economic development, right? So growth and economic development was one of the categories. So the action would be to do an industrial tourism gap study. And the measure of progress would be implementation of that recommendation. So what I want you to do is for each one, write it down on the large line pad, and what you need to write down is communications, and then what the item is, what the action is that needs to be taken, and then what the measure of progress. So it's put together a communication strategy, implementation of the communication strategy. If you can put more detail into it, that's helpful for us too. We'll have to work with staff on it eventually anyway. But it kind of helps because sometimes if you just put a title, we may not understand where you're coming from entirely. So if you put more information, that would be great. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about probably 15 to 20 minutes to write them down, and then you can post them up here. I'll put another sheet up here for a little community. You post them up here, and then we can present them to the group. Okay, so you've got about 15 minutes to work together. try to come up with 5 to 7 if you can. Maybe you'll only come up with 3 to 5, but 5 to 7 is kind of what we're aiming for. Okay, so you got 15 minutes to work together and to do that.
Are you looking for this listed or just?
Yeah. So, the ones that we think so, I'm trying to watch. There's one that you don't think makes sense, right? Right, but there's one that we think makes sense, that I would. So, I would be in the initial for this. So let's say you have. So, start planning towards this recreation. Or. Communications are.
They covered a lot. And also something that.
It could also be raised up to the comments.
Yeah, well, let's say there's one that says, no, I'm in the community. I would probably.
So what's the?
Yeah, I would probably leave that in that. Yeah, I would listen to you, you can't put it up there.
He must.
Yes, I would. You guys are very.
Steve, I'm not sure. This is what you're talking about. That's safe.
Yeah.
Yes. They take it under a word at a time, you were releasing.
Yeah, no, I think it's.
It would be good. Don't give it, really. You share the work.
I'm sorry.
Okay. One is awesome. So I deal with some communities that are, have homelessness problems. So they're worried about soon, I don't have workplace. So one of their items. Yeah, so one of their items that we go up with is a safe community, but having more. Resident, I was gonna add up that someone sits on that and stay there. That's pretty much everything. It's so, it's, and I'm giving away, it's not being solved. It's gonna be, so it's just very, so, then they are now, and try to, it doesn't have to be developed, the whole word of plan, we can work on traffic, right? And what's the key title of email, and then what should we do? So it's economic development was an example that we say we need to be as part of that, since the implementation of our analysis. It's one time, but it's not part of the. So.
What's that? What do you think?
What's the mean, like?
So we need.
What's that mean?
Yeah, well,
Like, that, I read like. What is that? What is it? No, I know, I know. So,
I think it's.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, without that. Okay. But could be this not, yeah, it's a lot of that.
Little community. You ever meet like what's education? Yeah, you know, it's like- I honestly feel
Well, we are. So I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, I know. Well, yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, I mean, we do some singing stuff.
I love all of all this.
Yeah, so, you know, that's.
That's good. That's good part.
So that's what we.
Yeah, but yeah.
So I think that's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's that. I think we have an issue that we hear from some preach to everybody. There's like we were on the mission, some people that are in the 80s. And heard. Oh, I see you.
Someone.
No.
But there's even a lot of, I think a lot of. Next, and you know, a lot of things that's and then so getting that really starts to be confidence in a lot of
I've got a debate, you know, that's not. Kids in school.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's all now, you can't lose the song. I mean, it's all, it's all, and I'm not gonna be strong for that, but, you know. So, and what is, what's one of the ways that you can.
It's better.
For the young men. So the objective is. Yeah, but the objective is like. The action. Resources. Measure progress. For. The services and we're. Yeah, exactly. So, you know what, you just had to put down your ideas in your mind. That's a good one, we had a conversation, you have to read it out, if it's, the other thing I think is certain conversation, procedural things, and everything, person, the person when it comes to.
Whatever.
That's the action.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then. That's it.
You brought online?
No.
Oh, so. But it's needs to go to the university. Yeah, you know, but it's that, or nothing, it's just, well, it's. Oh, no. This is my. Well, I look at the, my people from science and all the other things. But if they want to, it's going to be either. Yeah, but I don't. But I mean, if I case, maybe. It's not, I'm going to bring it. I don't know, when you have friends, it's not. Break down through this market, what it is nice. About it, so I'll look at. And I think the instance that it was not, you would, but. Social services is the number one.
Facility.
Priority or responsibility. Livable. You get any sunlight stuff, and it does go on.
So if we go for that list, if you're really those the real deal in there. So. We want to try to have a look at this. So you're doing a little. So what do you think?
Yeah,
That
but-
the subcategories are. Things like sensibilities.
For lifestyle.
Some of the seniors.
For
lifestyle.
With lots of-
So what are the programs?
But there's- Increase availability of success. Economic. Increase access to officers.
Well, it's like we started with it, of course,
That's not.
You put the waterfront.
Right. So that's me.
No.
It's also, no, maybe we are for the. See, try to work on. I get work played out, so having jobs, it's maybe for also community services and objectives. Those were things here. I'm just going to
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Good information.
This is what it really so service should be, yes. Continue to upgrade facilities like rules and parks. That's on the list. Yeah, once you go to Parks and Rec, that first location. So we put that we had March. What are the strategy for it's this year, next year, what are the assets you have?
Maybe honest. You ran those down around?
Yeah. So, yeah, so that might be, I would think that separate, that's a big deal. Maybe this is another. But if you're talking about continuing, sometimes we'll other parts, facilities, doing a lot of the developing the strategy, and starting to implement the strategy of the one. It is a and you can bring those up to try and more around the branding facilities. You always have to be well as you
need,
and that's what it was. But I don't know. I think the really is. It's worth possible versus all times, which is a step really beautification of the waterfront, service, stabilization, or shoreline. Will not run the VAT money. People who want to.
and again,
Well, we use, what we do, it's still cold.
But it's not. Some of it are, it's like someone. We do want to about that number. And even it's not so fair, we try to get it fast. So, there's there, the name drives not people, we did have. Okay. So once then I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sure. Some more reason on. But it's not. Some of that's. Well, true, it's the church is trying to. Thank you. We want to be wrong. Priorities and meaning steps. Okay. Pull out, we're trying to emphasize the inside evaluation. Exciting access. Not sure how to say that. So those cases. So the color is actually the blood. We're just continue to work with our neighbors. We really want to raise the price of sales. I think that's part of the. No, so the ones we never. Another one we did was Moto has a cultural center. They all got labor, so there's lots of things that we couldn't do. Well, we were there, on some of the desks. Yeah, that's what it is. That's our plan, that's the job. It's in the last. Yeah, so there's an example. And we go to the council, break down. So we've got.
Yeah.
So you've got the one. You are. But it might be possible because anything's bad, might be, so you can also they do. Oh, I'm not questioning all that, but not, in my opinion, so. I don't know. Yes. Service.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know. This is right on the green line products. Probably should have brought it. Should have done it. Yes, the thing for one. Okay, I don't know what for everyone.
Well, we don't need to do.
But yes, I'm doing.
Everyone on the list that I well, I mean. Well, I did put it down because something real. But yeah, that's good. I don't know. I see something that takes so we rest research that to do that is we look like is very honest. So one of the things that I was
So the one, this is my word of production. All of them, we have, it is no. And then we have seen the part of it, so we hire what's the research? All of them. Yeah, so it's right. So lots of tennis boards, the research is very important. I know we should that here. So that's it, that's an immediate. So my latest, I know it is. So not that can be another, not everybody's at a solution. I recall that you people are there was some program where so things like so I think sort of have a lot of sometimes they decide one is not going to I think we have it and then there's the we do not and I think it's there across so yes, you see, it's yes, you know, getting on that. I'll cut the dots photo. Not me work. No, it's not. Like, even if we had one of them, you know. That's what it is. So, did we had them before? I don't have it. My mom and still is okay. Mine was. Oh, I don't know. The people read it. Yeah, so that has come up. Yeah, for me, ones of this, and I like that. It's very consideration. Never comes to say it's or and certain types of water. Is that part of it? Take it. Yeah, that makes it a little, yeah, just like that idea. That's good. Hey, you know, that's using our social media, put it onto the screen. So actually, the implications of moderating one from city center. So yeah, I think it's a lot of sort of yeah. I'm just thinking, but not a little bit more action. Or the reason so there is some problem. Yeah, there you go. And some people that's
What we are going to comedy or we just like something there.
No, just from us. We're not gonna don't, let's just do that. Let's do the lots of that. Yeah, no, not. Let's do that. So, and it should be. They will take my. Services for your. You know, the capacity. And it's the lady bring. So we got. So there's a few different. Oh, I kind of lost. So we would have. Maybe more time. But there's.
And sometimes you get which make it, you know,
No,
so now it's gotta
they
be.
do that.
Yeah. These are the type of person and it will be, that's the way. Stop. No, you understand, but. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I get two in the corner. So how are we gonna actually that?
Are you guys swimming in the sea? Or are you
We would take on the whole. And. You put it all in and. That's after you develop. All hot months.
Very confident.
No.
I just. So this is not in the computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would just.
It's more like, well, sort of.
Like 5 more minutes.
Okay,
I just wanted to remind Dave what the score was. Football game, 7-0 for my team, which is the Bills.
No, he didn't say, he didn't say. Yeah, no, there was. Looks like that Andy was a little tired.
Or did you make that silly that?
I did, over the mayor of Prescott.
Oh,
So you learn, Dave, like me as a big league fan, don't bet.
did you bet?
Right?
Did you bet something?
Just for
So what are you gonna have to wear?
I don't know, some type of merchandise. Look like, then I'll have to get, in front of the camera to start the meeting. Indicate that the Bills are the, first team. And then make donations for food. It will not be that, it will be my choice.
will someone film this for me, please?
Yes,
I saw it.
it's early, yet the game's not over.
Okay, Sean, do you want to present? Sean's gonna present the ideas from the group on communications, customer service, and good governance. You guys came up with 5 excellent ones? Yeah. Great.
The first one was just around succession planning. I just think it's an important thing, from a governance perspective. The action that we had was, to ensure that the organization is sustainable and, continue development of leaders within the organization. And, the outcome of that is, just annual progress assessment. So I think in, more from a staff perspective, when we do our performance evaluations, I think for the people that we have identified as future leaders within this corporation, that, there's more of a focus on, okay, are you meeting those 5 targets as to where you want to be? Stuff rather than just focusing, okay, this is how you did this year. It's focus on that. To just keep people on the top. Second one was just modernized communication, and that's a pretty big all-encompassing thing, but we talked a lot about moving away from traditional print media and embrace modern marketing techniques. I know we have to from we just have to use print media to announce the meetings, but I think we could do more, just QR codes and other types of things that would get that information out in a more efficient way. The outcome for that, easier for the public to engage with staff and council and get a wider, and we can also, if we do it more electronically, there's always metrics behind it that we can see whether we're actually reaching people. Because I'm not sure how many people look at, like, say, like the tax notice, like the tax insert that we put out, whether they just look at that and just throw it away or they actually look at it. Third one was service level review. So complete the action of that is just complete a full service level review that address any possible duplications and or omissions. If there's something that we're maybe falling short on or they want to add. And the outcome of that is to determine what is a sustainable level of service. So we could I think the one that was around the table was, like plowing roads. If we can plow the roads like 5 minutes after it snows, but it's not sustainable. Financially and just is that the right way? To kind of go about things, and then it's the same with assets, right? Like like top trucks and regular trucks and stuff, it's like, you know. Do we get hit on that maintenance cost later and then use the assets, or do we replace it sooner to? Or less maintenance costs, but the next one we had was just looking for community and municipal partnerships. And this is engaged with community groups and the county and other municipalities. And see where we could partner to increase efficiencies. Just so that we don't have to do everything all our own little island. If there's ways we can band stuff together to do a better job, and that's great. And then the outcome of that is the municipality is regarded as a partner in the community, rather than an overlord. The last one we had was just to do some PSAs, so public service announcements. Kind of ties in with the water mass communication, but just as a good action item that can be done, just to see how it works. It's just a film tour, PSAs or information on relevant issues within the community and post them on social media, just to see what kind of traction we get. And then the outcome of that is based on the uptake and use, we can reassess that moving forward. So rather than putting like a one-page tax insert into that, is it better that you know, myself or someone else from staff talks about tax collection, what goes into it? Would that reach a better audience than just putting another piece of paper in with them?
Okay, excellent, give him a round of applause. William, you better.
Definitely not gonna pop that. Anyway, we're on political community, and what we discussed was give it a pretty low rating. Maybe you can get it. Ours was like the waterfront, beautification of the waterfront, revitalizing the shorelines, and the action we should take would be like inventory of stuff down at the whole waterfront, like the current services that are available down there, and additional, like the building should be revamped, like it's in rough shape. And then if we need help down along there, we can always go to South Nation conservation, kind of give us a hand and stuff, you know, what we want to do. Measure the inventory and the funds. We can apply for grants even, you know, and see what enhancements, achievements we've have accomplished in 5 years just by doing stuff like that. And then our main objective was we were talking about mental health clinics for people with addictions, and the Legion Gravel unit can help us, you know. There's all kinds of things that we talk more than I could write fast enough to get it down. But, maybe we could step in and say a few other things that we said. I didn't get all the way down assistance, but like places for mental health and addiction, like the churches, they have open halls and stuff that we can set up things in there, you know, the drop-in center, and see what we can do for them. And
I think we just discussed the possibility of forming a committee to look into the wellness and addiction township. And try bringing the accountants, United Accountants in, and the health unit is trying to find out medical needs and maybe developing, establishing a drop-in center for kids with addiction. I think we would look just for the structure of life. They definitely, if they're helping, developing something. The measure, I guess, would be dependent on the outcome of the help we would receive from. So determine how to develop. It's a big.
Yeah. What's a big issue with addictions or all kinds of communities, everywhere, right? So trying to take a progressive approach to try to find how we solve some of these issues and provide some services to people in the community. And that's making the community more livable for the people. Absolutely. Give them a round of applause.
Rebecca did all our notes, so. So, local community, we touched on a few things, let's see here. We touched on the community and economic development, an action there would be, to continue to work on the tri-council, to try and, I think we've all talked on this, to bring people together to have communications about, hey, you guys have, a pickleball court, and we have a pool, so we're trying to share some of these things, and we can together on, not everybody trying to be everything at once, right? So, that was that perspective, created a partnership with them as this kind of that conversation. Another one we had, was, there increased supply of housing starts, sort of a managed growth that'll help to bring people together, bring more people into the area, and it'll identify a revenue channel for us for resources to support development. In other words, growth is happening. If managed properly, you can do that and bring it in, and then be able to properly allocate the resources that you get from that extra revenue. Continue to update facilities. So in other words, we have a lot of rec facilities already, making sure they're up to the top notch is important. That's the creating a space where people can go perspective. And the strategy for implementing that would be to have facilities and recreation plan and set up a strategy for that. So the objectives of communication. We struggle a lot with communicating around the township. How do we get better at that? We had a few ideas. Maybe one is a couple of digital billboards around the area that talk to the upcoming events, as well as if there is some sort of emergency that it can actually be diverted to do that. And so, but that'll help to take the stuff we put into social media today and be able to put it also in front of people when they're driving down. Since I'm just an extra way to help them communicate that effort. And yeah, it just makes it easier for communications. Another objective we talked about is connecting residents with available services. Okay, so how do we get better at making sure that we people know what the services are offering and advertising those services that we have. For instance, programs for seniors and other groups. The measure would be increased advertising of your programming, big visible signage, and we talked about just trying to get the message out there. The objective to expand community events and recreation. So we do a lot of events, and so how do we foster, with neighboring governments, again, we talked about, and other methods to get that work, to get the recreational work that we're doing. And as far as measurement goes for that, we need some sort of statistics for collaboration and engagement. So we need to be able to have some sort of tool we can monitor how well we do once we start talking to them. And the last one is the community, affordable living and housing. We know we're growing. We obviously have affordable housing is a problem everywhere, and so we're trying to measure that. And we put some tools in place. We've also gone through this housing executive fund and things like that. And measuring the success of those is going to be, I think, something we have to keep an eye on. Ensure that we're growing the community, the community growing, and then having to manage that growth. Put it in the right places. That's great. I don't know. Give them a round of applause. One on communication. Communication, we're getting along over here, maybe so.
So many of those you can grab and move around.
Yeah, so maybe economic development, one of them. And I'm gonna move that one over there. just facilitators prerogative, because I have to write all this out. But I think that's well done. So it was a little hard getting going, getting kind of started on it, but once you guys got going, you did great. Like, these are great suggestions, fantastic ideas. We're gonna take a little bit of a break now and get you some fuel. So I think my bills are still up 7-0. 14 now. I'm sorry, Dave.
It's early, and I think it's 21 early. Early.
I'm just disappointed I'm missing it, but I'm having fun. So let's do dinner. Let's have a bit of a break, grab some dinner, and then when everyone's kind of feeling like going again, we'll go in 20 minutes, half an hour. Does that work?
I think we need to call the break, so we're in chat. Can you show the recording on?
Yeah, it was covered.
I think we have enough.
I got it. Yeah. We can call these.
That's it.
Here for a second or two.
There's three of us now, that's all.
Okay.
What time was it? Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Waddy Snail, the municipal council does now recess at 5:40 p.m. And I'll just leave it at that, I guess. We'll reconvene in half an hour or so.
Call the vote, all in favor? We're in recess.
Welcome back, everyone. And we're going to work on our next set of strategic objectives. And so the two that we have are financial sustainability and infrastructure. So infrastructure projects that may be important for the municipality that you want to do. And then the other piece is around financial sustainability, so doing things like asset management plans and that kind of stuff. Anyone have any preferences? I need to divvy it up somehow.
One person, each day.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some different.
We can do that. Do you want?
Yes, I don't know everything, but. Yeah, I'll head over there. Sure.
You know, it's already moving. It's already moving. Would you prefer financial sustainability or infrastructure? Financial sustainability? Okay, financial sustainability. Financial sustainability or infrastructure? Infrastructure. We are? Yeah. So what are the big infrastructure projects that you need to be thinking about either immediately or down the road? Oh, no. Or you want to think of it? From municipal building. Or economic redevelopment. I figure I don't even treasure. You see rather than those people. So try to think of project.
That's area. You know, how about on you, what is the but yeah. Yeah. That's big for because no, it's so. Well, what we prefer is one, so this time there's some. I believe. I don't.
I said, everything, research, rules, everything with rules, staying, you're some of the other things are looking.
Oh, the call. It's the road, that's the road.
The road, yes, the road, yes. So that, or, that was, that's,
Another one, yeah, just saying, we'll talk, what could we try to do?
Which one? Which one did you want to send? Or the two things.
Yeah.
Oh, we can see how. What do you got? So I just thought. Yeah, I don't think it's probably. Cool.
Right, so it's basically, now we're going to this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also lost much. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There is a going feet. So I was the hospital. I know it's yeah. Well, it's going last. She's just gonna go on the these. Yeah, this is exactly. Yeah. What is preserved? So sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, what it is. Something like measurements. They were on as somebody, so proportions. But anyways. So we well, infrastructure line. And what?
Yeah. I don't. All the way through. Yeah, I didn't want to be such something else that they gave.
That's where.
That's
scary.
Yeah, sorry. Well, look at it for something else, really, and it's me. Well, how do we hold that? Yeah, so what are we gonna do is that? What are probably, is there a 20th?
But it's got all great, better role, so that's, that'll figure it out.
Well, I know, I was appreciating.
Yes.
It's very hard to explain. Oh, okay. Oh, we had a problem last week. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I remember those.
I don't.
Wow. John, great.
It's not so much what we we're about to say.
Yeah, it's. Breaking the news standard.
Yeah, that's a real. Going here, we would be a bunch of. And then you're getting financing, but the only challenge, let's say, it's. We have to. Very perfect. It's on the break. Yeah, but it's worth further discussion.
Well, it's also, it's one of so what are the beginning?
But let's have.
Well, sort of, we wouldn't have any process.
Yeah,
No, also, we talked about. So that, so number, like, the number of.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a tree on the. So it's not, we do the same, we less than that. So it's not in part of the market. It was roughly half, and homes is not needed. Over we get, like, it's possible.
But then one of the solid was one of the
Yes. It's not, we're on a. But we have other.
We thought. Pretty sure we can have this. So that's a lot of money for. Although we're spending $500,000 on current. So. But we don't have the wish. Yeah. That's it. So, yeah. Well, yeah. What are you on? Just have, that's the big.
But it's still be a discussion. I want that.
Not this year.
Yeah. Maybe additional. But there is a discussion.
I don't think it's a big chance. That's what it needs to be on.
Engineer.
I think what we want to do is. That's the area. Pretty specialized. That's a problem. There is a writing process. What do you exactly like? This is really important.
So,
That's not even a discussion. You drive along. Yeah. I think in the '60s, that was we made this. Structure. What's the meeting? But now,
Like-
we didn't replace. The whole is here. When we went to government. I don't think we had enough of that, but you. I guess it's in the side. I don't think my measurement. So the measurement. I don't know. I wrote down the curve down, project. So when I go up, goes the right top, so the color. So we can start. What do you want to do? Yeah. What do you want to do? Yeah. Bring on financial. Would we want, do we want to switch, do we want, do we want to?
Well, I would say that's maybe if we can use it much. We were fun. Yeah. We use it. Water system increase. No, it's actually, that was.
The hours are off of. How much of it? Yes, because we're gonna stop like the building.
Well, I know it's not, yeah, right.
Yeah, so you know, so much is,
Yeah.
but then no one even knows. Yeah. Progress. Well, something like we just discussed, how would you?
It's. Different facts and.
Part would be, you know, we'll be using it, so.
I just heard it from it,
Let's see, like.
Like you just. That's why it's not. We didn't bring much plastic, because it's all.
Scott, is that?
Sean, ready to present?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Sean's gonna present on financial sustainability.
All right, so first project is just a budgeting software. everybody approval. So the goal of that is just to create better allocation of resources. Just so less time in data entering, more time in data analyzing. And the measure is the labor efforts growth proportionately is less than the budget. Kevin, you're right. Next one is a multi-year forecast. That way, the goal of that is when we do have to move an item, say from 1 year to the next year from capital or operating. Using that multi-year forecast will show the impact of like that. So there's no surprises. 3 or 4 years down the road, if a bunch of stuff all of a sudden we've got a laundry list this big, because stuff that just moved along the way. This way you'll see it all. The measure on that is everything on the goals is scheduled in the 5-year plan. It's known or predicted. Next one was to keep the port vibrant and a long-range forecast. The goal of that is keeping the port viable so it continues to provide to the township. So it gives us that financial stability and sustainability. And the measure on that is a long-range plan that will provide predictability to both organizations as far as the township and the port, so that we're not disadvantaged. We do want these. And another one for financial sustainability is grant funding opportunity growth. So a project there was to grow the capabilities to find grants through either internal or source, some other way to just see where what grants are available to us and what's going to be that. And the measure on that is annual grant. Great. That's really cool.
Great job. Give them a round of applause. Okay, next group. Hey, you've got a bunch. So. First one is more to a specific user base. Let's go to project phase 2. And sort of the action there is to get the design and engineering completed. And the measure of progress in that particular end of it would be to have a shelf-ready project. Should some additional grant funding come along, that we're able to submit under that grant funding to help cover that large undertaking. The next one is there is a large pipe that runs under the thin portion of the canal. So the action there is first off to determine how to assess that particular pipe, and the measure of progress would be to actually have a condition assessment performed ready to determine the next steps. Next infrastructure asset we looked at was the Spencerville Arena. The action there was to evaluate the current use, look at opportunities to increase the use, and our measure would be establishing benchmarks on the percentage of use to determine if there's some additional actions that we require. And our fourth infrastructure item was the waterfront shoreline. We have portions of the shoreline that are rolling away. So the action there is to sort of establish a baseline condition of where the erosion has reached. And then the measurement would be annually reevaluating the degree of further erosion in determining the long range. Great, give them a round of applause. Last group. Could we have a louder clap? It's folding up on you, right? Hey, Rebecca, you've got the 8 of them up there. You're the.
Yeah, we identified areas we need to focus on, not so much where we could measure the important time. Where we've identified that's been ongoing for many council terms is the constant travel for those. That's. We already have the organic plan, we already have some. On the road, there's our current, our top, all of our other infrastructure, and see this, but political wise as well as business wise. Hot topic, our chief is not here tonight, but a discussion for a fire station, substation, what that is going to be that is happening for the discussion. Top level, but, looking at other municipalities, how they're operating, who's how they need to operate, and go from there. What their designs are, how our designs, things like that. Constant improvement of drainage for infrastructure, so we already kind of touched on that for different areas of the pipes, now this is going structure, culverts, things like that, roads, and other drainage areas of the township. The Central Arena Community Center, that's the next decades, and it's become where we go with it, what are the options, there's an option, Prescott, Granville, basically all the surrounding municipalities that looks what we need to do with our partner, municipalities, what do we do, our own thing, we keep it as is, we transition it, we have to figure out what our objective is. Updates for accessibility in our facilities, basically anytime that we look at anything through we need to pushing us to make improvements. A lot of them are again, how we're soon to be a special project, accessibility, pushing upgrade to okay. So that's an ongoing process, basically with all our facilities and our newer facilities, room for improvements. We're discussing Obeah Road Bridge right now, whether as a full scope project, are we going to be providing that based on findings and new findings to review, how that can impact our financial sustainability, 50 years down the road, what's it going to look like? Water shoreline, water adaptation, different ideas going around this ground council, last council. As to what the water revitalization wants to look like, where the goals are, what the objectives are, what our community wants versus the wants of the community, and what we're looking for. So we want to focus in on the now, we want to focus in on the future parkway. We want to focus in on specific key areas, or just the general overall unification of it, or we want to focus in on the accessibility of it, the sustainability of it, the environmental impacts, things like that. And then there is the potential addition, expansion of water and storm management for on the right now where it's status quo. We want to expand those areas to help support additional development with that expand development. We assume so. We also need to include on additional infrastructure works. So there's a lot of.
Okay, that's good. Give them a round. Well done. Well done, Rebecca. Okay, so now we have to move to our last set of priority items. Economic growth and economic development and environmental stewardship. So who would like to do environmental stewardship? No. What's that? Bill do it? Okay, and who would like to do growth and economic development? First time. Okay, you guys are good. What would you like to do? Which of those two would you like to do?
You better do environmental, because ours is gonna be pretty weak.
We'll do environment. So the only problem is you guys are really. Those challenges, right? That's right. We're not agree. You say it's ready, and just say you're not for it. But the problem is never. We can scatter your son. I will. Let's we all good sound. Let's go on. We gotta get that note. Okay. All start regardless of where you stand on something. We have this. So you can do the process. Big, hairy, rosacea skull. Oh, yeah. We did. Actually, it's a very simple. This. Yes. Yes, yes, no. Some of the. It was like, but when I was, actually, my first one, is it? Not done, but it's in my body, in around. Yeah. The first one. Like. Environmental.
These are projects. We didn't. Not how you. You don't, but more. It is, but I do. Seems so. Yeah, well, that company is one of the things, my action. I don't know. So first, I put one of the people from one of this to get in the right state. So you get clean. Yeah, that's a good thing. Then you do it over, you make your different side of this burger, 8 minutes. There's no lot. Oh, okay, you don't see. It's not very county, but it's in the stop. It's you got. Just works. Since the one that does all the. So. We did not change. Yeah, fine. Exactly. We started that. Oh, we tried, we did. We all. But we just. And what they do go around. Some of the scales that people.
I don't know. Okay.
But you, no, but you do. But you, yeah.
So what?
Yeah, that is strong conversion, because what we did for the first year. We can all. We made each other.
People should say here, they're always changing. So. Information. Communication. Say, you know, I'm gonna keep this.
Correct.
Yeah. You're actually. Environmental. Being good, something like that. I think we could have done. It's not.
So in terms of the.
Or, you know, when it was. Wow. Hey, I'm trying to see because there's less feelings. Oh. The garage. Well, I think the PDA. That's just you. Well, I was like. But it's a good wall, and that's the top of
Steelers, blow the gap, it's 24-17.
Yeah.
Get it pressing here.
some story. That's five. Down here. You know, we're all going to make massive backers. Well, there's a sign. We see you. Stop.
Yeah.
I don't see. We want to be and not. No, yeah, I have that a lot. I like it both. Yeah. You did. You did actually. Second year, let's have these about. That's a start. So
Another one that thought out first.
I asked because
Well, they're the worst.
Feature of June.
That's really equitable for the dollars. But it's not, it's-
There is no, well, no, I get, yeah, there's no funds. They would.
Yeah.
They would. For a while.
Taking this bench factor, it's a big sign. It's a huge factor. What salary or function about it? Or the other, the front of the back box is the more than.
it's not substantial.
So I did. So all like you, so what we need.
What, are you gonna share this?
No, maybe, it's just.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of. So I in charge of the. So. One thing that we. Like the seems like that's sort of. Well, that's it. It turns out, you see, with all the roles and lines. Yeah, that's the biggest stuff. It is. Because we think it's that responsible. Let's just around. People doing when you do that, like, we have or just something that goes shots. My brother, some of the stuff, and I just think they're not in that. It's just probably. So they're highly tough markets there. All over. Yes, so I have another. No, that's good, no, it's good. It's always good so much, but I stopped races for the. I put this in the address here. Or I can just. Once we started. Some people.
I hope you know what, I'm calling my friends something. So you know, I'm happy about this report.
Oh, wow. Are you guys wrapped up?
So I'm happy. Who's presented?
Oh, we do.
Yeah, no, it's not here. Oh, absolutely. Hello, everyone, ready for the first presentation? There's from. Wait, now, Mr. Mayor, floor is yours.
Oh, wow. All right, so under growth and economic development, we put housing as our number one concern or hostility for growth and economic development needs. As we're seeing right now in Rose Corners in Rockville with housing through St. Lawrence Economic Development Corridor. Industries like Canada are recognizing that they can't attract folks to our workforce without having housing. So availability and sustainability and affordability, those are things that are greatly impact our ability to have growth. Two is our industrial park expansion. Potential for new land. The issues that come along with that are expanding the potential for expanded services, lack of infrastructure or connected infrastructure that is already in place, or the inability to secure additional gas and hydro, or even if we do get new land, having the inability to secure hydro and gas is definitely an issue. Working with the St. Lawrence Economic Development Corridor, while it may not prove fruitful for others, where Cardinal is still great from a regional perspective, we're going to see a lot of growth to the west of us because for Edwardsburg Cardinal tourism, certainly a tri-municipal approach, create a lot of exposure. That exposure for Edwardsburg Cardinal will bring traffic to all of our small businesses, supporting their small businesses. We want to make sure that we continue. We have a lot of great festivals, local festivals, and lots of local activities. From a tourism standpoint, the more that we can get that out for, especially from a tri-municipal approach, the more that we'll get people who attend those festivals, hopefully being able to grow them and continuing with their sustainability, if not just awareness. We witnessed that what we began or what we think will be a great partnership with something that Steve brought in this year was made through a basket. So things like that will make a big difference going forward from a tourism standpoint. We think from a growth and economic standpoint, grant opportunities, having shovel-ready projects on the shelves ready to go so that we're able to leverage dollars from all levels of government. And anytime there's money available, we should have a project ready to apply for one of those grants so that we can get ourselves going. Certainly, if it's not us, we want it to be one of our neighbors. So by supporting collaboratively with them in signing on for the projects that they apply. Obviously, one that we all know in this room is our port. The port, you know, is a fantastic place when it comes to growth and economic development. It certainly supports, you know, I think it was said that it's between 1,200 and 1,600 local farms. So obviously the ag industry. You know, it provides sustainable funding in I think it's $1.5 million to our township every year. Obviously it connects from a trimodal standpoint, and river roads has unlimited potential, I think, as far as we see it for development and growth. And I think that was through what we saw when Hardy came through the Ontario Marine Strategy. 6 is probably our ag industry, which follows right in the port. You know, we see that through Ingredion. You know, it's been there for, what is it, 140 years. And with Greenfield Global and their VHQ expansion this year, what was it, $165 million, I think, making 99.9% pure ethanol, the highest grade ethanol in the great. So, you know, the ag industry is what supplies the corn and foreign industries like that to thrive and to grow, and I think that there's potential for that to grow here as well. So, from another tourism sort of standpoint, the potential for on-farm diversified businesses such as Mallwood Lumber, Farm to Table, and things like Sloan's Honey and Cleary's Meat Farm. So things like that. I think one of the best strengths that we have as far as growth and economic development, flat out, is just our location. Sitting on the banks of the St. Lawrence River, our proximity to Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal, the Highway 401, the Highway 416, the rail line, 2 international bridges, we couldn't be positioned any better to grow. So we certainly, over the next 20 years, we have to make sure that we make decisions that will set us up as growth happens right in this area. And lastly, I think, is our jewel, which is the St. Lawrence River, how we choose to develop a stretch of land that no one else has. I don't think ownership of the way that we have it, you know, a continuation of the waterfront trail, support for all the events, community gathering place with the pavilions, the docks. It's an extremely safe place. We, in that stretch where there are homes for sale, we can actually have homes that are for sale in that area where we have a river view or access to water through public launches, and they're actually still what we consider affordable in those places.
That's great. I really like the shovel ready piece. Do you know when the election is, federal election? Yeah, June 26, and the provincial? Oh, sorry, that's 2025. Yeah, it's gonna be there. Yeah, both, no, this happens every time this election, right? Just before, the year before, there's all kinds of funding, blah, blah, blah. So having shovel ready projects ahead of time is how you make money. That's great. I really love it. Oh, quick update, Buffalo's up 31-17. More minutes left. Yeah, 4 minutes left. Perfect. So everyone, you're up, eh? Hey, you're up. We're over to snowboard. I'm still working. Let's yeah.
What do you not need out you?
I appreciate it. You did environment. We did environment, and we really did. So one of our projects that we say our projects, and we're using the term loosely, what are some of the projects we've approved or we're supporting, if you will? Battery energy storage systems, these BESS programs where they're putting batteries, you know, several kilowatts, several 100,000 kilowatts actually, in the areas potentially.
The goal with that is have a more localized available power grid, so that if, you know, emergencies happen, the power is close by. And as far as metrics go, we're trying to figure out the side of this, you know, the hours of kilowatts, basically, so hours of backup or kilowatt hours of backup. One of the projects that we've done internally, partially anyways, is tree management and conservation, so there are new tree policies in place, and there's other conservation ideas out there. We sort of working with the SNC, the South Asian Conservation Authority, and indigenous populations to help keep us green. And as far as metrics go, the township looks nicer, which is, I know, a soft measurement, and that we have less trees to get, so we should therefore have more essentially exercise that. You don't really measure how many acres of trees we have. So it seems very good. One of the other projects is the Scott Road, the new transfer station. The goal here would be to set the standard for waste management in the area. And the metric would be basically diversion of garbage from landfills by because I think better simply people use and stuff. So one of the goals there. One of the things we talked about as well, and you might want to initiate some sort of a waste management Q&A information packaging on how to recycle, because we're talking a bit about it. As time has gone on, we've actually lost it. I don't remember all the stuff about power, but things have changed as well. So we can some sort of a Q&A would be good for that. And again, it educates, the goal is to educate residents and businesses on best practices for that. And to measure again, this week, we're diverting. So, another project is increasing the gas flow to our area. We talked a bit about the water and the residents. You know, the goal seems obvious to increase that because you know, the way we want to measure this is, you know, more homes and businesses get off propane essentially. So we think that's important. And then the project of you know, it can just put any charging stations, as we just talked about a little while with you know, an EV powered vehicle here and the power on power, right? So not enough charging stations, no charging stations in the area yet. So you know, we need to have more to support our residents and guests, etc. And the measurement there is that become yeah, I really do. So that's great. Great job. Give her a applause.
I was just gonna say on the recycling and those things, York region has done a lot around, they have some good videos on what goes in a blue box and what doesn't. And then the most successful municipalities, and there are a number of them, actually have gone out to the waste management, people go to the schools, and kids actually drive the behavior of their parents. By considering that. There's actually studies that have been done, that's the most effective way to drive that change in behavior. Dave, you're ready?
Ready anyway. One of the items was reducing the public fuel use. So one of the actions that we were looking at was with respect to our fleet and looking at putting a you know, hybrid vehicle into the fleet. How we measure that is actually dropping from 100% non-electric to let's say 5% of the fleet being either a hybrid or electric as a starting point. One of the second items we looked at was a small battery drop off. So the action would be to establish a couple locations in the township where you could return your 9 volts, AA batteries, etc. And then our measurement there would be we'll say the tonnage of batteries that we've collected in distributed to the proper suppliers for recycling. One of the other items that we had talked about that hadn't worked through everything else yet was sort of establishing similar to our donate to not pay where we had in one portion of the community in Garda where we had a day that residents could come and bring large items. We thought about expanding that out to the 3 main areas, Garden, Johnston, and Spencerville. Having a day where we might be able to collect that and have less people needing to travel all the way to the transfer station and you know, as a secondary thing, we'd have less, let's see if the road and the location. One of the other items that we had talked about, and hopefully with having that, less likely that we find some of those large items in the ditches along the road, which generates fuel to go and have us select. One of the other areas that we looked at was the household hazardous waste and seeing if we could have more than one time a year to actually have those collection points so that they are collected and properly recycled as opposed to ending up in the ditches. That's. I'm looking at the
Green garbage collection or biodegradation.
interesting that we do have that in Greenfield. They touched base with me just before the holidays on concept with respect to of the digester to look at that. So I think that's certainly another option that would be interesting over the next year or two to see if a project like that can be. Yeah. Give her a round of applause.
Digesters are very expensive, very complicated.
But it's our. Yeah, that's all swear for the.
Yes, so that's.
When they do that, yeah, we'll be a project, so they're just, we go door to see people are, yeah, it's in SAT, it's not so sad. Yeah, it's down, it's just having enough. Supply, that's the supply.
Yeah. Okay, great job. So we're gonna
Update 3128. Still got the ball.
Nice.
Oh. I'm just making that up. Oh, today, get a heart attack.
I was gonna make a suggestion.
So we're gonna.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Time out.
I think here it is full for Bronco to win. So our big hairy audacious goal is something visionary, long-term. Okay, something you want to think about down the road. You may not be able to do anything about it now. Maybe it's just starting to plan for it, trying to buy a piece of property. You know, it may be a long way down the road, but you want to think about it, what it is. So these are suggestions that you gave: grocery store, subdivision, a tourism destination, best livable community in Leeds and Grenville, unified support place for all people to work and for all employees. And then there's this long one. To move the township offices and chambers to Johnstown on a parcel of land, blah, 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 it goes on and on and on. It's well thought out. Yeah, it's very well thought out. We want to move away from us versus them and get everyone together on the same page. Okay, so now what you need to do, you have a little stickies in front of you. Little stickies, these little ones here. Each of you gets one sticky and you can make a big hairy audacious goal on it. And you post it up there where it says G-hit. So what's the one thing you dream about doing? So you look at it and write it down on a thing. Post it up there.
Well, I think we're almost done.
If it's anonymous or.
Yeah, hang on, this. Thank you.
Don't share, you track. Old Tony, old Tony. Old Tony, that area.
Committees are up 1-1. 31.
Oh, 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left, 31 seconds.
One minute left. Break your top priority down on the whole city.
It's like 1 minute left for 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Say, sound. Oh. Well, you got a bunch of meetings around. Is everyone done there? And all the value.
Yours in there, Sean?
Not up there.
That's not.
No. Really?
You know, but yeah.
They were just waiting on Dave.
Just like
that. Feelings for a little more.
yeah. But yeah. Oh, my God. No, these guys just want to go. So, yeah, I don't know, 31-17. You know, I'm going to look over the end of the day, just go on.
Okay, you get to vote for one. You get to vote for one, you put a check mark on the right hand side of the one that you think makes the most sense. We do, you have to vote for one only. On the right hand side of the stick, you put your vote for the one. If you think you're, no. We lost, you create that. Just like a side. I could put a box where. Did you put on there, those for? I didn't, oh, sorry. That's a pipe. Vote for, yeah, also. It's 1-1, I think it's you went another 1-1. Oh, not for any, I don't think you want that day. You know what, you want me to sound like the Canadians, man? Cause I can do it. Yeah. Since the Steelers have won 6 Super Bowls, it's about time to let a few other teams. Oh, man. It does not sound like the Canadians. Huh? So we could sort of the league something 6.
Yeah, basically.
What time you guys walk on Saturday?
Dude.
You're 155?
Yeah.
We're all on.
Yeah.
What car, you know?
Car 4.
Oh, car four.
Are all looking for that?
Yeah. Oh, council's going. I'm all in there. So that we love to see. Great.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine, I'll see you up. I'm very interested.
Yeah, I think you probably.
Thanks.
You going? Where you guys sitting? Where? Oh, good.
How did they get charity or not? In the first week of the.
Oh. Where are you guys?
Hilton.
Oh, that's,
It's literally like.
yeah, it's across the street. Well, it's not even 5 minutes.
What were you, Sheridan?
Yeah.
So where are you going? Oh, we see, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's other party than the whole city. I think all everything's in the from the trust.
And United Campus is, happy hour, what, 5, 7 to, yeah?
You can go over mine anytime you want.
No, we're taking United Campus, Robin, but.
Oh,
yeah.
no, that's,
Robin?
Oh, I thought she said that.
Yeah, I don't see it,
Okay, everyone, results are in, and you chose it. Now, go forward, divide.
I think that's his area of nomination since it's out.
Not now.
I think
No.
that that's gonna happen with the youth, with. Like as my people, my parents say. They're the ones that were amalgamation and since amalgamation, most, for a lot of people, I mean, the percentage of people that work outside of our township. Is 80% or something, like it's really high, we're not used to, the lines are so blurred. You know, like you drive from Edwardsburg Terminal through, Augusta, through Prescott, through Elizabethtown, Kitchen, go work in Rock. Like, I don't think that it's, I don't think that the youth care that it's part of Spencerville, Johnstown. I don't think they feel as strongly as.
And they don't. And it- Our generation's terrible.
It still exists.
And our generation's terrible. My generation.
It still exists, but it's going to happen.
So it's probably time, right?
It is.
But are there other things that we can do? We just should think about that. Are there things like around branding or around creating an identity, or whatever? We don't need the answer tonight, we just need to think about that, right? So that's what you want your big variations goal to be. And let's see what feedback we get from the public too. Maybe that'll bubble up as an issue that we want to try to address.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yes.
Well, the people who come tend to be that generation.
Yeah.
They're the ones that sell really defiant.
You're in Cardinal, Spencerville gets it. You go to Spencerville, Cardinal gets it. What's wrong?
Well, I saw the subdivision with water and sewer in Pennsylvania, and then right? Still a little bit of that, but we're all in this together, right? So here,
Well, I was on the line for Cleveland, expensive.
so, these are the next steps. So we're gonna work at trying to finalize this draft plan. And for the public, understand, we're not gonna give all the details that you've got into, it's just too much for people. But we'll do a summary strategic plan that they can provide it for us. And then we're gonna do engagement, we've got a survey, we do staff survey as well. And then we're gonna look at the feedback we get. We're gonna get some typical people, you probably know who they are, who will make their usual comments about their garbage collection isn't good or whatever it is. We're gonna get those, but we'll get some good thoughtful people who will share ideas, and we may want to adjust. We may want to incorporate those things, so take a look at that. At the very least, it shows that as a council and staff, you want their input, you're getting them to buy in, and you're getting support for the direction that you're going. And so then we'll just adjust the plan, we'll make recommendations on what you should do, we'll look for your feedback on that, based on that survey, and then we'll bring the final plan back to staff. So those are kind of the steps I talked about earlier. At this stage, glad to answer any questions anyone has. We are working with Social Pinpoint, which is a software company. We've got a software ordered. We've had an initial meeting, and I'm going to be setting up a meeting with Becca and Dave. We're going to roll out. We've got into our summer and some of these other things. Today's workshop was really important. Then we're going to start to use those tools to engage with the public. Okay. Any questions anyone has on anything? Okay, you've done a fantastic job tonight. We were actually behind, and we actually are finishing and it's substantial.
Well, that's because we got fuel of our urban meetings.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, I actually had dinner later in the schedule, and Dave said, no, we got to move these guys up. I know my team. So we made that change, we got that. Yes, you're right. We know your team.
Good man.
And we know your team. So anyway, give yourself a big round of applause. Well done. So, do you have to formally close your council meeting or? Yes, we do. Okay.
What, you want the lights back on? You all right?
No, it's lots brighter. That's what we go to. Because of the objectives. I hope. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this. That was. What time is it? It would be. That's a favorite, right? Look at your pencil favorites. Okay, just remember you look right down to the. Yeah. Don't embarrass you. We're still, making fun of my pencil favorites.
So I think,
Don't you embarrass me?
I think it's great.
Thanks. I need distance. Oh, you're making much money off us.
So my clock is correct.
We're just waiting for Councilor Martel. And I can just resume. Yep. Okay, so we are finished now, number 5 on our agenda, which was the strategic planning session with Rob Adams. Thanks again, Rob, for such a fantastic session. That was great. Next, we're on to 6, which is councillor inquiries and notices of motion. Does anyone have an inquiry or notice of motion? Okay, so I do. And I was contacted by a group of citizens at Sawmill Creek or Flat Street subdivision regarding hunting. They would on the extension of Dundas Street behind the houses sort of south of the canal and in the river, that proximity to their homes. There have been several times where hunters were utilizing that area within their rights, using that area. Police were informed, police came, checked it out, the police left, they continued to hunt. One can assume that everything they were doing was completely legal. However, the citizens have asked that council consider a bylaw to prevent hunting in that area. I guess my inquiry would be, or it's not really a notice of motion, so I'm not making a motion. But my inquiry is, can that be added to an agenda coming up, one, and. I have not signed that list, but I am a property owner adjacent to that. And I think it only fair that I probably somehow declare a conflict there. I'm not sure if I'll ask Tony if I can contribute to the conversations or not. I'll contact him. But it's like, it's my backyard, so certainly have issue there, but at the most appropriate or soonest time, and I will forward if, I don't know if you have, CEO has those letters or not, but I will forward them to you. I received. So, okay. Mayor's report, none, and question period, do we have any questions from any persons or gallery? None, no closed session, so we are on to the confirmation bylaw. Councillor Smale, you have the confirmation bylaw.
Your worship, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Chris Ward, that a bylaw to adapt, confirm and ratify matters dealt with by resolution be now passed, signed, sealed, and numbers 2024-01.
Yes.
You know. There was. Call the question on the confirmation bylaw, all in favor? And adjournment, Council.
Yep. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Joe Martell. The municipal council does now adjourn at 7:57 PM.
Non-debatable, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thanks again, staff, and thanks again, staff and Rob, Mr. Adams, for facilitating such a great conversation.
Oh.
Yep.